We will create this textured insect illustration in Procreate. This video is a simple introduction to using various layers, brushes, clipping masks, and blending modes. The project should take about 30 minutes to complete. Feel free to copy what I do or adapt it to make your own. You can also use the chapter markers in the video to assist your viewing if needed. Let's get started.
How to draw a textured insect illustration in Procreate.
First, we will need to decide what type of insect to draw. I'm going to do a beetle, and we'll Google some images from online. For this project, start off simple by finding an aerial view of the insect. Once you find an image you like, simply tap and hold and select Save to Photos. All images will be saved in the Photos app. Now that I have some images saved, let's open up Procreate. The first thing we want to do is create a new file or document. We do this by clicking the plus sign here in the top right corner. I'm going to select A4. Our document opens and you can rotate the canvas by pinching your two fingers in and rotating it. The first tool to be aware of is our color picker. You see, once I select a color in the sphere, the icon changes to that selected color. The other main tool will be our pencil or brush. For this drawing task, I want to use something a little more rough, so I'm going to go into Drawing and use Little Pine. If you don't like this texture, feel free to choose another, such as Inking Studio Pen. On the left here is a slider that changes the size of our brush. Your pencil is also pressure sensitive too. We also have the back arrow or undo button here to erase the last mark or marks we've made. We have another slider here that is for opacity. We will place one of the photos we saved from before to trace over. Go to the Actions tab or the wrench icon up here on the top left. Select Add, Insert a Photo. Tap which photo you will use. Then at the bottom, select Fit to Canvas. Once satisfied with the placement, deselect the blue arrow at the top to set the image. You can change the size of your canvas by pinching in or out to decrease or increase the size. I think I'm now ready to actually start drawing. I'm going to go into the Layers panel here on the right. I click this N and lower the opacity to about 35%. We then need to press the plus sign here to create another layer to do the final drawing on. What we are going to do is draw each segment of the insect on a different layer. I'll be starting off drawing the largest section first, so I'm going to first select the color by going into the color option here on the top right. You see at the bottom of this window there are different options available. I'm going to try using one of the palettes and will use this purple color. I'll first test out the size here and then erase it by pressing the back arrow or undo button. I'll simply trace out the shape here, and I don't need to worry too much about perfection as it will be a stylized illustration. Once done, simply drag the color picker into the shape to fill. You need to make sure all shapes are closed or the color fill will spill into the entire canvas area. So in my drawing you can see the line segment drawn here. I'm just going to go over this with the brush to smoothen it out. We are now going to draw the next segment of the insect, and we are going to do this on a different layer. I go into the Layers panel and select the plus sign. I'm going to draw this next section in a different color, and I think I'll go with magenta. I then trace this shape and fill it in as previous. I'll again go over some of the line work to smoothen it out again. For the head, I'm going to create a new layer again and select another matching color. I trace over this and adjust my brush size accordingly and just color it in using the brush. For the legs, I again create another layer and select a new matching color again. I'll just scribble on the canvas to see how it looks together. I've lowered my brush size and trace over the legs and color them in. So in the Layers panel, these legs are layer 5. I'm going to tap, hold, and drag them lower so the legs appear under the insect. If I press the selection tool, or this S-like tool at the top, I can draw around these legs and then select, copy and paste so I don't have to draw them again. So you will see a new layer is created when this is done. These two layers are on top of each other, so you can't really see any difference. Use the S tool or selection tool again to trace around your selection, and then press the neighboring arrow next to the S tool. Once a boundary box is seen, slide it over to the other side of the insect, and then select Flip Horizontal from the bottom Options area. You can now move it into place. Press the blue arrow at the top to set and exit. In the Layers panel, you will be able to see the change. I'm going to turn off my layer 2 because I want to add some of those pattern shapes the beetle has. I'm going to create a new layer for this and select a matching color. Another option to do is to leave that layer on and press the N to lower the opacity. I'll now draw these patterns, making sure I am on the correct layer. I'll go back and increase the opacity of the other layer to see how it looks. I'm also going to merge these two leg layers by pinching them together. So as before, you can see the line work and fill area are a bit separated. I tap and hold over the color, and you will see that the color options will then change to that. I'll go ahead and fix this on the different sections. We are now ready to start adding some textures. We will start off with the large section of the insect, so I select that layer. I then want to create a new layer above it by simply pressing the plus sign. Tap this new layer and select Clipping Mask. You will notice a downward arrow will appear. A clipping mask will allow drawings or marks to only appear in the link shape layer below it. This is why we needed to draw all the parts on different layers. I'm going to select a new color and change my brush to something from the Textures area. Let's try this diagonal texture. Simply make some marks and you will see them appear. Experiment with the size, color, and direction. We will repeat these steps with the different layers created. Choose the next layer to work on and create a new layer above it by pressing the plus sign. On this new layer, tap it to then select Clipping Mask. Decide on your color and brush to use. Repeat these steps with the remaining layers. I'll speed up the video at this point. Now that we have added the textures, it's time for the next step. In the Layers panel, turn off the background color layer. With 3 fingers, swipe down on your iPad. From the menu, select Copy All. Swipe down with 3 fingers again and select Paste on the very right. In the Layers panel, you will see a new layer called Inverted Image. I'm going to drag this layer to the top and turn the background color layer back on. On the Inverted Image layer, we will tap it and select Alpha Lock. Once selected, you will notice a checkered background will appear in the layer thumbnail. Next, we will select a color. I'm going to go with this light yellow-green. Once you select your color, tap the layer again and select Fill Layer. You will notice the thumbnail change to a solid shape. On mine, you notice just the head changed. This is because I left Clipping Mask on. I'll turn it off. Next, we will select the end from this layer. Scroll to find Multiply. This is a blending mode. This blending mode will use our selected color with the drawing image underneath. We are almost finished. We are now going to go into the Eraser area and select a textured eraser. I'm going to go into Spray Paints and select Flicks. I'm not satisfied with that yellow-green result, so I'm going to go back and change it to a dark blue. Now, using the Eraser tool, lightly go over some areas of your drawing. What is happening is that you are removing some of the fill layer we created. Feel free to experiment with the brush, the size of eraser, and the amounts to erase. If we go into Adjustments, which is at the top next to the wrench icon, we can also experiment with hue, saturation, and brightness by playing with the sliders. I'm satisfied with how this looks. Now let's save. To save our drawing, go to Actions and select Share and JPEG. It will then prepare for export. Then click Save Image and it will be saved in the Photos app. Thanks for checking out this video. I hope you found it helpful and gained some insights. Feel free to subscribe, hit the like button, or leave a comment or suggestion below. I must give a shout out to Bardo Brush. I learned this technique from one of her tutorial videos, which I will also link in the description below.
This has been a video production.